COIN, Community-Oriented Integration Network, is a network of friends, people of experience, who explore how to develop local communities for health, compassionate communities. In this blog, I want to say something about university links with what you're doing. I think this is greatly helpful because they can be great supporters, both of the theory and the practice, and of course applying for funds that you may need. I like the idea of university-linked localities where people from the locality relate to a university that helps them to learn both ways. One of the things I did when I was in West London is develop a primary care research network. And what we did was engage a quarter of all GPs in the, 2 million population in research. But we combined what the hospitals and specialists wanted, which was recruited into randomised controlled trials, with qualitative research, case study research, reflective practice, showing people how you can apply research, searching again, and development to grow or to evolve as a way of life beyond the more academic idea of treating people like cogs in a wheel that randomised controlled trials do. Now this can be a bit heady, but essential. Egon Gruber in the Paradigm Dialogue made the most wonderful description of 3 different paradigms of knowledge, 3 different ways of looking at the world, assumptions about what's going on in the world, each of which has merit, and the combination of the 3 is perfect. They are positivism, which is the laboratory idea of looking for individual facts under a microscope or inside an area. It's an engineering idea that you're looking for linear connections between one thing and another. So treating diseases with medications, antibiotics for bacterial infections, for example, is a part of that. A second one is critical theory, the Habermas school of connectivity. That what you see is not everything there is to see, but a network of connections that are already there making things work, a lot of them invisible. I don't know if you've ever had mushrooms growing in your back garden. You may suddenly find that one day there's mushrooms in one pot and then they're everywhere because of the invisible network of connections underneath the soil. And then thirdly, constructivism. Actually, what you're seeing is not actually there. You're observing a moment of becoming, a moment where what is interacting with other things in order to become new things. And that combination of those 3 approaches is very helpful. Not helpful to put them in different boxes and say there's this way of doing it and this way of doing it and this way of doing it. Now this book, Egon Gruber, he sadly died. Ivona Lincoln was his life partner and work partner. Together they wrote this book. Ivona Lincoln was editor of a series of huge tomes of qualitative research. In this book, which I think is, apart from this rather boring front, is one of the most important books of our generation, 4th generation evaluation, describes how everything is moving and what you see is snapshots of stories in evolution. So if you want authentic research, you have to reconvene the people again and again and again who are involved with a situation and help them to reflect on their situations in the light of routinely gathered data or interviews, qualitative research of one kind or another. It strikes me that this is not only authentic ways of thinking about the relationship between theory and practice, it also fits ever so closely with the language of organisational learning. So I would thoroughly recommend that you got to understand the basics of some of this kind of thinking to be able to argue to academics, to politicians. Look, we can reveal more about the world by doing things this way than you can with just doing randomised controlled trials. We can engage people better than this than by doing things with people, and we can change the whole culture by adopting this kind of thinking. So get working with your university colleagues.